I'm kind of curious. What is the dumbest thing an American has ever said to you?
So I'm travelling in Australia. I'm in a hostel in Brisbane, and there's this American couple. I ask them where they're from. They tell me they're from Alabama. I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. I've never been to America. And they're like, oh really? But America's so close to Jamaica. And I'm thinking, what? And I say, oh, well, I'm not from Jamaica. Oh, well, sure you are. You sound Jamaican to me. And I was like, well, I'm actually from Wales. And the girl looks at me, and she starts giving me a glare. I'm like, oh God, what have I said? Like, have I offended them in some way? And they're like, you can't say you're from a fake country. That is so offensive. And I'm like, well, Wales is a real country. No, it's not. It's an animal. I'm like, no, it's a real country. Who do you think Charles is? You know, Queen Elizabeth's son. Like, he's Prince of Wales. Oh yeah, he's Prince of the Animals. Everybody knows that he owns all the whales in the world.
As an American, it is my God-given right to respond to this. We're so goddamn stupid. There's so many things to say. First, when I was 16 years old, I was working my minimum wage job, and someone spent 20 minutes arguing with me and my coworkers that eggs, in fact, had dairy in them. Someone one time told me to go back to the Soviet Union because I have a Russian last name, and when I told them the Soviet Union has been dissolved since about 1989, they said, no, it hasn't. Someone once argued with me that they should be allowed to say a word that sounded like a slur, even though it wasn't the slur, it was just another word in the English language, except I'm pretty sure that word is where the slur was derived from. Once I made a dumb blonde joke around someone that dyes their hair blonde, and they genuinely responded with, ha, joke's on you, I'm not an actual blonde. Imagine how dumb I'd be if I was. Someone once told me we had 51 states, and when I asked what the 51st state was, they said Mexico?
So I used to work at this winery on the east coast of Canada. It's like kind of close to a port city, so sometimes cruise ships would come in and people could come down to the winery for the day. So one time this group of Americans came down off a cruise ship, and I gave them the tour, and the tour finishes outside in the vines, in the vineyards. And they look up, and there's birds flying around, and the birds are bald eagles, which in this part of the world, bald eagles are very common, see them every day, no biggie. But these tourists start freaking out, like they're taking photos, one guy has binoculars, and they couldn't stop saying, like, how good the hospitality was and that we would do this for them. And I was like, do what for you? And they were like, well, these birds, like bald eagles, are American. So like you must have brought them here for us. So these people thought that A, bald eagles don't exist outside of the US, and B, this winery that sees thousands of people a day imported these birds for their pleasure.
Oh, buckle up. So a few years back, I applied to a job at Home Depot online. And on the website, it literally has a specific question. Do you speak Spanish? Yes or no? And I did not speak Spanish, so I clicked no. Then afterwards, it goes to another page saying, do you speak any other languages? I did. I speak Mandarin Chinese. It's a long story. So I get the interview, I go in to meet with the manager, super nice. He goes, oh, well, we're very excited that you're bilingual. So how good is your Spanish? My Spanish? He goes, yeah, you clicked bilingual, so how good is your Spanish? To which I reply, I don't speak Spanish, I speak Mandarin Chinese. To which he replies, so you're not bilingual?
The dumbest thing an American has ever said to me. Okay, so to understand what I'm about to say, we need context. So this guy asked me where I'm from, and I'm like, I'm Japanese, Chilean. My entire family's Japanese, and I was born and raised in Chile. So he immediately assumed that my mom is a slave. He asked me, are you a child of a slave? And I'm like, what makes you think that? And he proceeded to answer that question by saying, isn't Africa in Chile? No to everything. That's the dumbest thing for sure. I'm pretty sure.
So I work in a business travel agency, and we have also passengers from US. And once one lady asked me, please, can you find me a ticket from, I don't know which city in the US, to Germany? I was like, okay, of course. Can you please tell me which city? She was like, to Germany. I It's like, okay, but which city in Germany? It's like Frankfurt, Berlin, anything else? She was like, no, I would like to have a ticket to Germany. Germany, the city, which is in Europe.